everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John. I'm here to talk to you about a few things that happened over the weekend and in the news. None of it really any good. The lies continue to come out of Biden and the White House, backed by nothing other than pure, bold-faced lies. Let's start with the latest of it, and that happened on the 19th, I believe. And it was widely publicized this weekend by the indigenous people of Alaska on the North Slop, where Biden decided with the stroke of a pen and an executive order to cancel all mineral mining and oil mining that is happening there that have a great impact on about 10,000 people that have been in this country and in that area for 10,000 years. It came out yesterday through their senator, they made 8 trips to Washington, D.C., 4,000 miles each way, and they tried to meet with the Secretary of Interior. They tried to meet with Biden, and they were refused every time. The Secretary of the Interior goes and visits Alaska for other things, and they said, "Will you meet with us then, since you're here?" And she said, "No." Then they go ahead and do this executive order, and Joe Biden comes out with a statement that he did this to protect the indigenous people of that area because he was worried about them being victims of climate change. This is their livelihood, and it has been for the longest time. Yet the Secretary of the Interior has moved up oil production in her home state of New Mexico by 1 million barrels. So how much of this is climate change worry, and how much of this is politically being shoved down our throat and shutting down our Alaskan oil? If you want to sanction somebody, why didn't he sanction Iran over their oil? No, he just sends a carload of money to them and shakes their hand. It is almost a travesty what's going on inside the halls of our government. Let's take that now to the Senate and the Mayorkas thing that happened last week. It's almost incredible to believe if someone wrote a fiction stating all of this that's happened, it probably wouldn't sell because it would be unbelievable. Then let's take us to the Congress. And our wishy-washy Speaker of the House that sold us down the road on giving another $90 billion, almost $100 billion to foreign aid, $60 billion of it going to the Ukraine. Why? I'm convinced it's a money laundering effort for a few people in this country to line their pockets. And unfortunately, no one's asking why you go into Congress poor and in one term come out as a millionaire, with not only that, a pension for life and health care that's second to none. Where in the world can you get a job like that? This election that's impending is going to be a real trial for the United States, I'm afraid. It is not a good situation that we're looking at right now. the louts that are in there on the Democratic side of the aisle that didn't bother to show up for the Senate trial of Alejandro Mayorkas, who should be in jail, by the way. He never answers a question when he's being questioned. And if he does, it's a lie. And then when he gets caught in the lie, he does another lie to get out of it. They're turning their back on the American people that put them in office. They forget that they work for we, the people. They forget that they're not all powerful. And we have a president sitting there making decisions about an entire race of indigenous people that have begged them not to do this, and then has the audacity to go out and give a public press conference saying that he did it to help them, that they asked for it. They retaliated with their own press conference yesterday and said, no, that's not what we want. What we asked for is, please, Mr. President, don't do this. And he did it anyway. His executive orders, since the day he took office, has weakened this country. It has made us more vulnerable to outside influences. We give more to other countries than we do to our own countrymen, and then throw the border wide open to who knows where these people come from. But they say it's approaching 12 million people that have come through the border completely unchecked, and a very large percentage are coming from China of military-aged young men. When do we say enough is enough? Why is this president not being impeached? Why is this Homeland Security Secretary not been impeached? It's craziness to go on this way and sit and wait for the terrorist act within this country to take place. It's coming. If you don't believe it, stop and think. They're all over the United States. And the Chinese nationals that were sent in here have been dispersed to the places that the balloon mapped out for them. That's the balloon that Biden let come into the West Coast and transverse the entire country, mapping every military base and silo that we have. China is a worry. North Korea is a worry. Russia is a worry. Yet we're doing everything we can to poke a stick in these nations that are hating us right now. Most of them are laughing at us. When you get a guy that goes out and says that his uncle was eaten by cannibals, then he's a World War II hero because of it. He makes things up, as I told you before. If he's talking to a Greek population in a city, he grew up with Greeks. His best friends were Greek. And then he goes to the black church and tells them that he grew up with blacks and always went to the black church. Lie after lie after lie. How can you believe anything that this president or his cabinet tell you? Blinken throws gas on fires. And the idiots that cover up for him in the press conferences, they're lying to you. Mainstream media carries whatever the White House tells them as truth and lie to you again. You've got to get your news where you can get it and feel that it is true. Wow, what a weekend. It certainly put a damper on mine to have to hear these things. You wouldn't believe that this could take place in the United States of America in this day and time, but it's happening. It's not good for any of us. Then you listen to the town council in Chicago, where the blacks came out in droves to try to get their message to a mayor that really doesn't care. They're trying to put another $1 or so dollars into the homeless situation there, because they're a sanctuary city and they feel that they're obligated to these people that came in. And they're using the black communities to house these people, and they're stuffing them into areas where there's needs of the black people who are there working, living, and paying taxes. These immigrants are not working and paying taxes. They're a drain on every social network in every sanctuary city that they have been sent to. The black population in Chicago doesn't like this because they're not receiving funding for what their needs are. They're putting the immigrant before them. And I don't blame them for the things that were said at that town council meeting while you watch the aldermen sitting there. And I don't know if you watched it or not. It was on Forbes and it was on Fox News. They sat there with cell phones in their hands, and some even got up and left to take phone calls. They weren't listening to the population that was there expressing their discontent with how the city is being run with regard to immigrants and monies being doled out to people we don't know. It's almost a travesty. Then you take a look over at New York. They're going in, literally picking up a backpack or a bag, clipping the price tag off with a pair of knives or scissors, walk around the store putting in goods into that stolen bag, and walking out of the store with it. And the police are handcuffed because they're not allowed to do their job. And if and when they do get caught, somehow, they're put back in the street with a warning. A classic example is that bum that killed Laken Riley, which, by the way, the news doesn't like to say her name, and Biden will never say her name, and half of that cabinet won't refer to her by name, was caught in New York doing a criminal act and released into the street. Had they kept him or called ICE, Laken Riley would be alive today. That's criminal in its own self, and that should be or have been handled by Mayorkas, which makes him guilty in the death of Laken Riley, in my book. It goes on and on and on. You have a handful of people fighting in Congress, trying to get their voices heard, and another handful of people in the Senate fighting for their state, their constituents, trying to get their voices heard. And all we can do is wait for to get them out of their seats, the ones that are bums. And we have to wait till November to do that, and that may or may not happen because the Democratic side has already let people know that the fix is in. They're going to get their way, and they're going to get what they want because they're godless individuals that only look out for themselves, and they're not the party of the people that they once were. Then you have, over the weekend, they're trying to sanction Ilhan Omar for turning against their own country and deciding to hate Israel and everything to do with it. The anti-Semitism has no place on the floor of our Congress. And these foreigners that come in and represent the Muslim population of their states have no business being there. This whole squad is a lunatic fringe bunch. And if you don't realize that, you must be sleeping. I mean, she's out and out called for the destruction of Israel. And first of all, if you look at Ilhan Omar's past history, it's been proven that she's married her brother to get into this country to get citizenship. And there she is sitting in Congress with that other Tlaib. She's another one that hates our allies. Actually, they hate our country. And they will tell you that if you take a minute and listen to what they say and read between the lines. Chaos has ensued inside our legislative branch in this government, and you need to be aware of it. We need to fix it. We need some help to fix it. But in the meantime, they've got Batman in a situation that he can't get out of, or so they think. Donald Trump tied up in New York in a kangaroo court for no damn reason at all. He got out and did some rallies this weekend, I'm told. I didn't see it and I didn't hear anything about it, but I'm hoping that there were, well-attended rallies. JFK Jr. is trying his best to get on all 50 state ballots. He thinks he can do it, but it's an uphill battle. It takes a lot of money, and it takes a lot of lawyers, and it takes a lot of protection, which they refuse to give him. Every other candidate from the day they announce gets protection afforded them through Secret Service. They're refusing. Biden is refusing to give it because he's trying to control the election. It's plain as the nose on your face what's happening. Third world countries tie up their opponents and put them in jail or do something else to them so they get a free ride in through the election. And this is what this bum is doing to us in this White House right now. And then lying about his decisions to cancel our domestic supply of oil and minerals needed so we can transfer it over to foreign countries who are making, look at Iran is making millions and millions of dollars daily on the oil business that we used to be making money from. And then we don't know where this $90 billion in this aid package that they snuck through is going to end up. Where is it going to come from, better yet? because we don't have it. This administration has broken the back of the financial stability of this country. And they've done it with a smile on their face and watching you cry. They don't care about you, me, or any taxpayer here. Now his new bill that he's going to try and shove through is he's going after the retired people's pensions and taxing it. So if you have money that you have put away for your retirement, they're going to hit it because they have to pay their special interest groups, and they want your money to do it, all while they're pocketing what circles back around to them. There should be an investigation on how somebody can take a seat in Congress and have no money in the bank and in 6 to 7 months be worth hundreds of thousands. How is that possible? Is there no laws for these people? The laws only apply to us? I'd like an answer for that. We all should demand an answer. And we don't have any coming straight from them. It's quick that you don't hear anything about Hunter Biden anymore. You don't hear anything about Joe's involvement with that whole mess in the Ukraine. Everything is about Donald Trump right now. On a decades-old case that's well past the statute of limitations, and they're tying this man up to keep him off the campaign trail. That is election interference. That's against the laws of this nation. But we have a Justice Department that's been weaponized to get the other party at all costs. I tell every day we need to pray to God for help. The prophecies are rearing their heads. Things are coming true that are in the Bible. We have a nation that's pushed religion so far away that people forgot. Deviant behavior is on the rise, and no one cares. Read the decline and fall of the Roman Empire and see where the relevances lie. Read about Sodom and Gomorrah, Pompeii. You can see it all taking place here. The other thing is I watched a documentary yesterday about the fires in Hawaii that wiped out an entire city. People's homes are been razed to the ground, and they're still that way. FEMA came in and did a little work, and they gave them some temporary housing for 1 year. Here it is a year later, and they're no further along in the cleanup, and they have to pay their mortgages on those burned down houses. Along with now, they're going to have the rent-free is over, so they have to pay a mortgage and a rent and no help from this government. But yet, in our infinite wisdom, we can give another $60 billion to a little creep in the Ukraine to do whatever the heck he wants with it and never show any accountability. And the ruse that they're saying now that this 60 million will be a loan, well, they're losing the war, and when they finish losing the war, they're not going to have any money to pay it back, so that's just another lie from this administration. How about those poor people in Hawaii? Now, how about the indigenous people on the North Slope of Alaska? Who's helping them? We have an earthquake here, or we have a disaster here. What foreign country comes to help us? Never anyone. But let an earthquake happen in bumscrew Egypt, we send billions and help. Not that we shouldn't. We should help our neighbors. But God Almighty, if we have a disaster, someone needs to help us as well. But that goes unsaid because we were the most powerful nation in the world until Barack Obama came on the scene. Weakened the heck out of us then, and we got a little power back with Trump, and then Biden comes in, and right back to the skids we go. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not an expert in some of these things, but a blind man can see that spending is out of control. Deviant behavior is out of control. Wasteful politicians need to have term limits. They can't sit in there any longer for 30, 40, 50 years and be a Biden. Living on the tit of the government for his entire life, just like Bernie Sanders. And the Democratic side of the aisle is being driven by Beelzebub. There's no other answer for it on how these people can treat their constituents and the tax-paying people of this country the way they do. And get away with it. And the Republican side isn't much better right now. Your Speaker of the House, he comes on like a goody two-shoes, but he lies like the rest of them. They either have something on him that's pretty bad to get him to go along with their programs, or he's just a little wimp. Enough politics, enough junk, but this weekend has been filled with it. And I believe that no one is paying attention. And if you're not prepping, and if you're not being prepared for the shoe to drop, and we get hit with an attack, a cyber attack, or whatever attack from within that we're looking at, then we need to get prepared. Get foodstuffs in. Get ready-to-eat meals stacked up. Make sure you have a water supply. Make sure that you have something to protect yourself with and your family. Because when it happens, it's going to happen sudden, and you know what people are capable of? They're capable of panic. And when the panic hits, things get bad. So stay calm, pray every day, and don't panic. Be prepared and be ready, and tell your family of a meeting place and keep it secret. And whatever stores you have that are in your possession, tell no one except your immediate family. because they'll come for it. They'll come for you, and they'll come for everything that you have, because especially in a cyber world, your cars won't work, your cell phones won't work. Most people don't have landlines anymore. That's a thing of the past. So make sure you know how to communicate with your family and close friends about a meeting place and how to get together. Because most of from millennials on down, without a cell phone, they're lost. They're not going to be able to communicate. They're not going to be able to find out what's going on. There are products out there that you can get that will be immune to that, and you need to do the research on it. You need to be growing food if you have the space to do it, and learning how to can that food. Because when this hits, it's not going to be a day or 2 days or 3 days. Find a place that you like in the country and make arrangements to get there when this stuff, it's not going to warn you. It's going to happen. We need to prepare. We need to pray. And we need to get close to God Almighty. Because when it comes, it's not going to be good. And people will panic. And this is what the powers to be are banking on. They want panic. They want chaos. And they want martial law. And they don't want you fighting back. This is what all the gun control crap that they're shoving through now is about. If you are a fan of history and you go back to the 1930s, when Hitler was taking control and the brown shirts were running through the streets taking people's weapons, they left the population unarmed. And that's what they wanted. And that was the chaos that ensued. And you're going to see it here as well. You have to ask yourself another question. I watched another documentary this weekend where they're talking about the new hires, the 80,000 IRS agents and field agents for the USDA. They're all being taught and armed with automatic weapons and semi-automatic pistols. Why? Why would an IRS agent need a fully automatic weapon? They're building an army within an army within a country, and so are our enemies. This influx through the southern border are allowing them to put together militias behind our back and can be activated when all the crap hits the fan. Make no mistake, it's coming. It's coming hard and fast. And I don't know if we're going to make it, or Trump is going to make it, or RFK Jr. is going to make it, or even this idiot now will be replaced by somebody. They're not going to relinquish power. The Democratic Party has become the party of hell. And Satan's running it. And Pelosi's involved. And Obama is involved. And the Clintons are well involved. Turn on X and listen to the utter trash that they're saying about Trump and us and people that are not going along with the agenda, they must have. I'm told that Hillary Clinton has like 30,000 people sitting in Brooklyn doing nothing but posting on social media lie after lie after lie. It's probably true. We don't know, because how many people can be on Twitter, or formerly Twitter, X, and other platforms that have that much hatred in their hearts? Hatred in your heart and in your mind will make you sick. Unfortunately, if you let it go long enough, it'll become mental illness. And we see more and more mental illness in the street, on the TV, in the stores. It's almost to a point where a person living in a major city no longer can be safe to go out and shop for their own groceries. Not to mention, they're cleaning off the grocery shelves. These are the migrants that are pouring in and just taking. Not paying, taking. But yet the city gives them a credit card. The city gives them housing. And probably some other social benefits and a voting card, if the truth be known. They're buying votes to stay in power, to complete the destruction of America. There's no long and short of it. It's before your very eyes. And the bold-faced lies that they've been caught in this past weekend with the indigenous people in Alaska is definite proof. These highly elected officials, the indigenous people, tried to come to Washington 8 different times to say, please don't do this. They would not meet with them. Yet they put out a press release saying that they did it for them. Pure, bold-faced lies. Directly from Joe Biden and his Secretary of Interior. And she is benefiting from the very thing that she just shut down in her state by 1 million barrels. You think that that might be a conflict of interest? Only if you're on the Republican side would that ever be brought up. Because they get away on the left side with anything they want. Our country is turned into Gotham. Batman is on trial in New York. And they think they have him. I don't know about that. Did you listen to some of the jurors' statements that were released from jury duty? The media is outside grabbing them and asking them questions. There is no way, with the jury picks that they have now, that he's ever going to win or be acquitted. Not by these people. It's peppered with hatred. But enough of that. Not a whole lot going on here. Our weekend kind of got messed up. We wanted to go for the ending of Hillbilly Days in Kentucky, Pikeville, Kentucky, which the weather did not cooperate for me to be out there with a camera. We did do at the beginning of, Friday, I guess we did the walking tour through the covered bridge in Elizabethton, Tennessee. And hopefully this coming weekend is going to be a little bit better and nicer to get out and bring you some happy things. I did try to shoot some downtown Bristol on Saturday. My camera battery was damaged due to leaving it in the car, and it overheated. But I got a couple of seconds or few seconds of footage, but I'm going to marry that with the next time I'm downtown. I'll finish that up and get it out to you. Ran into some great friends. Kaiser and I walked up and down State Street to see where we're going to be looking to film next. We went into Cranberry Lane, which is on the Virginia side of State Street, and into their fudgery place called Southern Churn. Kaiser got his ice cream, and I had one. It was great. We're going to be going in there soon, probably this coming week, because across the street on the Tennessee side is an opening of a new billiard room that will be hosting, I believe on May 1st, a major world tournament, billiard tournament. And we're going to go in there. They're in construction right now and tried feverishly to get ready for this. A huge space upstairs and downstairs. And we'll be meeting the owner, who is Janet, is a world champion billiard player. And she's the owner, and we'll get in there and take a look at that. And then the brand new facility, they have one on State Street now, but this is even bigger and better, and it's a Brunswick billiard parlor, and it's going to be awesome. So that, and we'll stop in and talk to State Line as well, which is an eatery that I love, the best chicken wings that you can put in your mouth anywhere. And the rest of the menu is good too. But we'll get that to you this week at some point. And hopefully things will calm down inside the Senate and the House of Representatives in the next few days. I'll tell you one thing that really, really got to me was the fact that they set in Congress waving Ukraine flags. And these leftists get away with this. There's only one flag that should be in the halls of Congress, and that's the flag that's behind me here, and it's called Old Glory. And it should be the only flag in that building. But yet they sat there waving Palestinian flags and Ukraine flags in that hallowed hall, which just tears my soul apart to see. So many people have sacrificed and died for this country and that flag. All Ukraine has ever done for us is take our money and weaponry and things of that nature. So there is no alliance to there. Why do we have a flag in the halls of Congress? A Ukrainian flag. This is a coin that has the oath of office on it, that everyone that enters into public service life, everyone that enters into the military, takes that oath that's on there. And that oath says, I do solemnly swear that I will protect and serve the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Congress takes that oath, Senate takes that oath, and a darn big bunch of them have turned their back on it. We're coming for those seats, and we'll put people in that this oath means something to. And unless that happens, we're going to remain in trouble in this country. And with that, I'm going to say it's time for me to get out of here and let you go about your day. We love you here at the Kaiser Report. We pray for you. Please pray for this country. We need prayer, and we need help. So until tomorrow, Kaiser and I say, have a fabulous day. Bye now.